welcome back to the video. In this video, we'll be breaking down episode 2 of She-Hulk. We had a lot of Easter eggs this week, including one about even Wolverine, but we'll be getting into that later in this video. Before we get to videos and in here, make sure to subscribe and notifications on so you don't miss any time I upload a new video or go live. But otherwise, wasting more time, let's go right into it. So we actually start off this week's episode with a callback to last week's episode when Bruce says that she won't get to pick her nickname and the public will actually do it for her.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it. You never have a choice with these names.
I won't lie, Chick Hulk made me laugh a little bit.
Turn into a Hulk, like a chick Hulk.
I actually thought overall this was a great callback and a good transition from the last episode, but now we get to the bar where Jennifer Walters does mention stereotypes for different superheroes.
I did not go to law school and rack up 6 figures in student loans to become a vigilante. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans.
And I do think this could possibly be a callback to Avengers 1, the scene between Tony and Cap.
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Also at the bar, there's that one dude that was always an asshole even in episode 1, and he says, I see a hot chick over there, I'm gonna go talk to it. I'm gonna be honest, that made me laugh a lot. Again, it's the smaller comedy moments in this show that are just straight up saying men are bad, and I find it really funny. And then Jen actually gets fired from her job for saving the jury, and I thought this was a really great way to create a conflict within herself. And eventually she does come to terms with the fact that she did do the right thing even if she did get fired. But I will also say, I also love the representation of her slowly going downhill after she got fired, because in that little scene, she's getting into a worse and worse law firm every single time she gets declined, showing how desperate she really is. I think the visual style was great, but the storytelling, it's fast and simple, and I think it worked for that specific situation. And then we get to the part of this episode that probably has the most amount of Easter eggs in literally like 5 seconds. So when Jen is checking her computer for low-life jobs, she basically sees some Iron Man 3s, which are just Iron Man shoes. Pepper Potts is making absolute bank after Tony's death. And this is the third generation. There were 2 more shoes before this. And this next one is a reference to Wolverine, which I was not expecting at all, but the headline does say, man fights with metal claws in bar brawl. I don't see how this isn't Wolverine, and I totally understand about the Fox deal. Again, we don't know if that's 100% true or not, but there was news a while ago that there's a Fox deal that didn't allow Marvel to recast the characters for until like 2025, I think. And so I think it makes sense to just keep mentioning it. Obviously, we know at the end of Miss Marvel, they did mention a mutation within her genes. And then right underneath that, there's another headline that says, why there is a giant statue of a man sticking out in the ocean. Of course, this is a reference to the ending of Eternals where Tiamat is emerging and then he gets frozen. This is surprisingly one of the first mentions of this entire situation in the MCU. I thought it was a cool little way to reference it. My biggest thing is that there's no really need to reference it because it's in the middle of the ocean. If it like sprouted in the middle of New York and was just a giant statue in New York, that would make sense for people to talk about it. But it's literally in the middle of the ocean, so I'm guessing maybe like news reporters, someone else found out about it, is now reporting it, but it's not really interfering with daily life. But moving on, the dinner scene was also pretty funny within Jen's family. It was awkward as hell, but they were asking the questions we all want to know answers to. Where the hell do Hawkeye's arrows go? And of course, that entire scene was meant to be awkward, them pressuring Jen into figuring out what she's doing with her life and everyone being overprotective and stuff like that, and just being overbearing on her even when she's already in like a low point in her life. And so I thought that was a great scene that represented all of that very, very well. And then after this, Jen does get rehired in the superhero division of the law firm, but her boss says that she has to be in Hulk form at all times while working, and obviously this turns into a big spectacle at work. I'm pretty sure there's even a lady recording it from the back. I thought it was very, very funny. And we find out that her first case is Abomination. Now there are a lot of small things here, and I'm really excited to see where this story goes, but of course he's held in the Supermax holding cell where we see Wong and Abomination go to in Shang-Chi after their little fight. And obviously at the end of the episode, we do see that Shang-Chi and She-Hulk do take place at parallel times, just because Abomination and Wong were fighting in the underground thing at the end of the episode. But back to the scene before, Emil says that he's a changed man. He's being more sympathetic than before. And what I really liked about this scene is that it actually takes advantage of what Tim Roth as an actor is good at. I feel like in The Incredible Hulk, they didn't really take advantage of that. He was really funny here, but he was also emotional when he was talking about how he was treated compared to Hulk. I also do think this might be a little bit of a connection to Thunderbolts because Abomination wants to be a superhero, but he committed crimes. And that's just like John Walker, and Amelia, whatever the hell her name is recruiting people like that to pay off their crimes and their debts and stuff like that by working for her. And we know that a Thunderbolts movie is coming at like the end of phase 5 or something like that, and so this makes complete sense to me. And Jen does say that she wants to check with Hulk to see if defending Abomination is okay, and he said that they made amends. But then we get a pretty big reveal, and Hulk is on the Sicarian ship. I don't know if this is the same exact ship from last episode, but obviously we know that Hulk is doing his business that he needs to do on Sakaar. Last episode he did say
Sakaar and Class A courier craft. They're probably trying to deliver a message. I gotta get to the bottom of that.
And this is 100% now setting up a World War Hulk story. I didn't really know after last week's episode. It was highly rumored, and the rights to Universal apparently are going to end next year with Hulk. So if Marvel's setting it up at this point, it will make a lot more sense instead of waiting until after the deal is over. And also within this conversation, when they're talking about Abomination, he does say, I'm a completely different person now.
That fight was so many years ago. I'm a completely different person now.
After Jen does call up her boss and say that she accepts the job, they turn on the news and they find out that Abomination was out of prison with Wong. And a little bit of a theory for next week's episode, I definitely do think Wong will be there, probably as somewhat of a witness to help Abomination get out. But I don't know if the US government's actually going to let Abomination out like that. They can probably use that to their advantage and make him work with the Thunderbolt. But now my overall thoughts on the episode, it wasn't that great in my opinion. I still definitely prefer episode 1. This one was way too short and it didn't really give us enough in my opinion. I felt like we got some great character development for Jen, but other than that, it really didn't do much for me. I felt like overall, it wasn't a waste of time because it was literally only like 21 minutes long, but really it didn't do anything else for me. It definitely just felt like I was watching a continuation of the same story, but again, nothing that really blew me away. That's basically it for my breakdown and all of my spoiler thoughts on She-Hulk episode 2. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.